What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GSN Pod 97. Thank you so much for joining us today on a Thursday, the 11th of July, 2024. Boy, do we have a show for you. Listen, we're in the heat of summer. Summer is heating up. It's been heating up. We're getting into the thick of it. And not to scare anybody, but in a couple months, snow is going to be flying. So, yeah, we got college football. We got a lot of things to look forward to. We got the GCP coming up. A lot of great episodes coming up with some new guests. A lot of things in the works over here at GSN. And we're excited. We're excited. We're jumping into it with both feet. Jumping into the puddle with both feet. That's what we like doing. And we're going to continue to do that. We're not going to slow down the intensity. We're only going to amp it up. So thank you so much for joining us tonight for the 97th iteration of the GSN Pod. Wow, 97. Inching closer to episode 100. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, this is where it all started. This is the podcast where it all started. The GSN Pod. It used to be the Gin Pros, official Gin Pros podcast. It has evolved into the GSN Pod. So for those of you that have stuck around with us this long, we're inching towards the 100th episode. Thank you so much for showing your support day in, day out. We're happy to have you here. Just to look a little later into the show, we're going to talk about the game of golf, a look into the game of golf. So there's a lot of golfers that follow me. There's a lot of people that follow my page on IG, Golf Johnny, Johnny Golf, whatever you want to call me. It's in my bio on my main Twitter account at John Bink. And so it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of information. It's a lot being thrown at you with how I come across about things, especially how I look at the game of golf and how I take a bird's eye view and look at the game of golf from a broad perspective, like I do a lot of things. But it's how we have to do it. It's how we have to look at it. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. Talk about soccer. We're going to talk about soccer. We're talking about Wimbledon. We're talking about a lot of sports that are going on right now in summer sports. We're inching towards fall sports, but we're not there yet. We're not quite there to be talking about preseason NFL. We're not quite there yet to talk about, 5-star recruits and who's looking good in the college football sphere. Looking at the Big Ten, seeing some teams come over from the West Coast and kind of throwing geography out the window when it comes to building the Big Ten conference and the alignment, the realignment, and the reconfiguration of the Big Ten. It's taking effect, but that's a little bit in the distance. We can talk about it. We will talk about it here shortly in upcoming shows, but that's just a little too far out for right now. Okay, it's not as far out as you'd think, but for right now, there's other business to attend to. So let's just talk about Gin FC. So we got Gin FC bringing you soccer news, soccer stuff. Okay, we got the Copa America final. We got the Euro final coming up this Sunday. Both of them are this Sunday. Kind of happened at in a very opportune time to align that way. But we're talking mayhem. We're talking mayhem, especially in the Copa America. With Uruguay and Colombia last night. 2 red cards are handed out. There's brawls in the stands. Darwin Nunez is in the stands. Reminds me of Meta World Peace himself, Ron Artest, in the stands with commentators going wild. They called the game early after a fight with Ben Wallace. And listen, it showed a lot of those aspects, showed a lot of those elements. So let's just dive into that right now. So we'll get to it. We'll talk about Argentina, Colombia, kind of Lionel Messi's last hurrah, so to speak. But what amounted to that and how did that come to be? So looking at Uruguay, unable to produce a goal against Colombia, unable to convert, bringing Luis Suarez in, the old timer himself, the ear biter, going back to the old days of the World Cup, biting Giorgio Chiellini's ear, pulling a Mike Tyson. He was unable to produce a goal, and he had one go off the woodwork. It was close, but no cigar. Okay, and you're looking at a lot of different elements that brought this final to be, and it gave you all the elements. Alexi Lalas said it perfectly. This game gave you everything you expected out of a semifinal in the Copa America. High intensity, uh, animosity towards the other side. Okay, and it's history that goes back decades, centuries, with these two international teams facing off, Uruguay and Colombia. And Daniel Munoz with the red card, Guillermo Varela with the red card late in the game, and the sole goal from Jefferson Lerma in the 39th minute with the header to seal the win for Colombia. Playing with 10 men. And you see that red card from Daniel Munoz. It was an elbow. It was a clear red card. If he wasn't on a yellow, it probably would have been a red anyway. It would have been a red by itself. You just can't elbow a player in the gut like that. And, especially with VAR and everything kind of gets looked at a million times after the fact, you can't hide anything. And a lot of people, including myself, were criticizing the VAR capabilities that they've had in the Copa America compared to the Euros, especially happening at the same time. You got, guys drawing lines on isometric planes to decide offsides calls with goals going to VAR and questions being thrown up. Why is this happening? I don't know. They have all the cameras, they have all the sensors, they can bring up the diagrams, and there's no question to what decision is made in the Euros. But for some reason in the Copa America, we have to be drawing on monitors, pulling John Madden techniques out of our hat and saying, okay, well, maybe he was onside, maybe he wasn't offsides. We're drawing on isometric planes. We really don't know anyway. Okay, that came into play, and that's raised some eyebrows in this Copa America. Hopefully that will be fixed in future tournaments. But looking at this game, there was none of those instances that really brought any question into our minds. Okay, the Daniel Munoz red card was clear cut. It was clear cut red. And then what ensued following the game with Darwin Nunez, a legend in his own right, a living legend and a playing legend, to go in the stands, kind of uncalled for. It's a last hurrah. Yeah, give me a red card, give me a suspension, an international suspension. Do what you got to do. Okay, he laid it all out there, and he threw some right hooks. He pulled some tactics out of the Meta World Peace playbook when he did that. So more respect to him. You can argue they got cheated and refs made the wrong calls. The bottom line is you lost 1-0 to a Colombian team that is gritty, that beat you with 10 men for the entirety of the second half. So no excuses. You're getting goal chances go off the woodwork. It's not good enough. So what do you got? You got a Copa final, Argentina and Colombia, Lionel Messi with the Argentina squad. Basically, probably his last hurrah. He's in his late 30s, and he's looking at things putting things in perspective. Basically, like Cristiano Ronaldo did. You're looking at the world greats in the modern game, which basically in the modern era, if you go post 2000, you're into the modern era. Now you're well into the modern era in 2024. So looking at these guys, living legends, playing for us in a Copa final is it's impressive. It's impressive. Argentina with a big win, 2-0 against Canada. Canada, our friendly neighbors from the north. Dominant win. Not enough chances taken from the Canadian side. They had the chances. They didn't take advantage of those chances, and they were unable to convert. So you got Argentina, Colombia, going to be a hell of a final coming at you this Sunday. Moving on, we got the Euro final, and we just got to talk about Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal of Spain with a goal in the 21st minute, and you pull it. I was talking to Ray. Pull it straight out of the FIFA 14 playbook. Okay, you're talking about goals from outside of the box. Defense is not really intense. It's not really right in your face, and you're pulling a finesse shot from the bubble on the top of the box, and it converts. It goes off the woodwork and in. You can't draw it up any better than that, especially on this stage to essentially get the winning goal against world champions France, and especially after Kolo Muani got a goal in the 9th minute, with a header that basically looked like France was going to run away with it. But if you know anything about this Spain squad, they're relentless. They have a lot of Euros and Euro championships under their belt. Okay, Danny Olmo with the goal in the 25th minute, 4 minutes after the Lamine Yamal goal. So France, they were unable to get it done. Kind of too little, too late. Very minimal goals throughout the entirety of the Euros. Really, to even get to this point is kind of fascinating. By the skin of their teeth, winning in some very gritty moments, winning in some penalties type scenarios, which you really never like to win. And I was talking a lot of shit on Twitter about the penalty dynamic. I was talking to my buddy Zach. We were talking about what else can we do? What else can we do to determine a winner when you have teams that are going into extra time, and then because you got extra time in the Euros, you go straight to pens in the Copa. What can we do to make it less of a crapshoot? Okay, now I get it. You go from the 6-yard box. It's you against the goalie. You got all your playbooks. You got all your notes that you can take on, oh, this is what he did in his last 5 out of his 6 penalty shots, going into penalties in games, because they have spots tendencies. They like to go in a certain area depending on the player that's taking the shot. But it's too much of a crapshoot. It's too much of a crapshoot. It's too much of a luck of the draw scenario. Now, my Azzurri, it hasn't been their year. It hasn't been their Euros. They don't have the squad. I'm going to be the first to say it. They don't deserve to be there, even if they were. Okay, they didn't get out of the first game of the round of 16 against Switzerland, a strong Switzerland team that they just played poised football. They played poised soccer, and it was too much for the Azzurri. They got into the round of 16 by the skin of their teeth. So they probably shouldn't even have made it to that. But when you got games, you're unable to produce goals. You got multiple games that are going to penalty shootouts. It's not looking good for you. Okay, for the teams that can squeak by and get past that scenario and make it even to a final, okay, there's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of luck involved with doing that. You got to convert, you got to score goals, and you got to be a threat on the offensive side in the in your offensive third. So that's the same for hockey. It's the same for soccer. Soccer and hockey are very similar sports. You got to be offensive, you got to score goals, you got to create chances, and you got to take advantage of the chances you get. Nothing has changed over the course of decades, centuries, and nothing will change in that regard. That will always be true for both hockey and soccer. Okay, so that's what it's gonna come down to for both the Euro final and the Copa final. Looking at Spain versus England, England getting kind of a crazy goal in the 90th minute. You're talking the 89th minute with 59 seconds, okay? You get a goal from Ollie Watkins, essentially a nobody, essentially a guy you never heard of, okay? Ollie Watkins. You ever heard of him? You know what he plays? Does he play baseball? Does he play water polo? Does he play cricket? What does he play? If you had a multiple choice question, with 4 answers on there, chances are a lot of people are getting that wrong, okay? He plays for the English men's national team, okay? And he scored the goal in the 90th minute. And basically sent England to a Euro final with that goal. Now they're going back to the Euro final where they took it on the nose to my Azzurri last time around. Will they convert? Will they get it done? Spain coming off a couple big Euro wins. And it's who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? Who's going to step up to the plate? Obviously unfinished business for England. It's kind of just another walk in the park for Spain. Will they play like it? They've proven to be a threat. I said it before I made my bracket. I said it before they even started the tournament. Spain is going to be a threat in this tournament. England, they're always good. Jude Bellingham pulling a lot of goals out of his hat to advance in games they probably shouldn't have won. But that's the game of soccer. Creating chances, 1, and 2, converting on those chances. At least 50% of those chances, maybe 25% might get you to the winner's circle. Okay, but converting those chances after creating the chances. Create, then convert. Okay. So you're looking at a lot of odds, a lot of numbers. If I had to tip the scales in this game, gotta tip the scales to Spain. Proven to be more dominant in the knockout rounds, and they have the skills and tools to do it. They have the players that play with poise, and I like watching them. They're fun to watch. Okay, they're really fun to watch. England is fun to watch when they show up to play, and I can't stress this enough. Okay, I can't stress this enough, and I can't tell you how many times I see this happen. Perfect example is Robert Lewandowski with the Polish squad. Seeing players succeed. Same thing with Kevin De Bruyne in Belgium. Okay, you see players that play well with their clubs. Okay, obviously Robert Lewandowski playing for Barca, previously Bayern Munich, just showing out, playing unbelievable football. Okay, Kevin De Bruyne playing unbelievable football for Man City. Okay, and he's a member of that squad. And you can bring into it, okay, it's their team chemistry. It's who they have that play around them that builds off of their game individually. And to that, I will buy it. I will buy it. But at the same time, if you're getting chances, you're getting the ball, you're getting touches, you got to create some chances. Belgium is more on the hook here than Robert Lewandowski. Okay, you got Lukaku, you got Jeremy Doku, and you got De Bruyne. I mean, who else do you need to create chances in your offensive third? You shouldn't need any more than that. The Belgium squad has faltered year after year, tournament after tournament, and they haven't showed out. And I think that the Belgium fans deserve more. They deserve more out of their team, and their team hasn't produced. So these are the teams we're dealing with: Spain and England in the Euro final, Argentina and Colombia in the Copa final, both coming to you this Sunday. Looking forward to it. Transitioning to the doc. Okay, transitioning to the doc. We haven't heard anything. It's been almost 2 weeks. It's been almost 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't heard from the doc. We haven't heard a word. We haven't heard a peep. We haven't heard anything from his corner, from his camp, and it's not looking good for the doc. I got to tell you. Amazingly, there's members of the Champions Club, members of his unified group, unified team, however you want to call it. Gaming phenoms, they were once called, under their leader, the Doc. Showing allegiance to the Doc. Hey, they didn't prove anything in court. They didn't prove anything criminal against the Doc. They stand with them. Regardless, there's a lot of dust that is yet to settle. There's a lot of words that have yet to be said. There's a lot of air that has yet to be cleaned by the Doc, and dirty laundry has been aired. How are you going to clean up that mess? Still yet to be answered. A lot of questions unanswered from Doc fans everywhere, and this is concerning for people that are fans of the Doc. I don't know how the dust is going to settle. I can't tell you how things are going to go. I can't tell you where things are going to go from here. Is there any future for the Doc? Is there any way to save face for the Doc? Don't know. I don't know how you emerge from it. I said this in our last show. I don't know how you emerge from this. I don't know how you get out of this. I don't know how you dig yourself out of this hole. But I got to hear something. I got to hear you defend yourself, because you don't have a lot of people in your corner right now defending you. There's not. They're not there. They're not there. Simple as that. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The Doc. It's a sorrowful story. You don't feel bad for the guy, but you hate to see someone go down like that. Okay, with so much promise, and let's be honest, he's not even close to his prime. He wasn't. But the fact that his career is seemingly going to be cut short is it's unbecoming. It's unbecoming for the gaming industry and the streaming industry as a whole, media as a whole. Who can you trust? Who can you believe? Nobody. Moving on, we got to talk about Wimbledon. Tennis. Ladies and gentlemen, the ladies and gentlemen that play this game, this beautiful game, graceful. They're playing on grass. They're wearing all white. They're glistening. Okay. A lot of the same names on the men's side, a couple new names on the women's side. Okay. Barbara Krejcikova, Jasmine Paolini. Okay, these women, either one, no matter who wins, they will be the first to raise the dish. They'll be the first to raise the dish. And this is kind of impressive. This is beautiful. This is awesome for the women's game. And it should be noted how different the men's game is from the women's game. It's a different sport. It's a beautiful sport no matter what. I guarantee you, women or man, they're going to kick my ass on the tennis court. I don't care if we're playing on clay. I don't care if we're playing on concrete. I don't care if we're playing on grass. I don't care if we're playing on sand. Okay, I'm going to get my ass kicked on the tennis court. John McEnroe was criticized for saying, hey, well, if you put the 300th man against Serena Williams, who's going to win? Okay, who's going to win? He said the man's going to win. It's a different game. Serena Williams backed John McEnroe's statement saying it's a different game. So that's something that's interesting to note. When you watch the sport, there's high velocity serves. There's returns that are unbelievable. There's a lot of speed going on, agility taking place. It doesn't look like it's that much of a different of a game when you're watching on TV. But rest assured, it's a different game entirely. So that's what makes it so fun to watch. Is it's essentially watching a different sport. Watching the women play compared to the men. It's a different sport you're watching. Okay, so to see a new woman raise the dish at Wimbledon is a sight to be seen. All on the contrary, though, for the men's side. Okay, you got Carlos Alcaraz, you got Daniil Medvedev facing off in the semis. Then you got Novak Djokovic to face off against Lorenzo Musetti, which defeated Taylor Fritz in the final set in the quarterfinals. A lot of people were pulling for Taylor Fritz. I was pulling for Fritz myself, even though, Italian, Musetti, I was pulling for Fritz. He's an American kid. I want to see him do good. I want to see him make it. And we've seen tournaments for him get cut short in years past. He is due for one. Couldn't string any wins together in the final embers. In the last set, it looked like he was digging deep. There was no gas left in the tank for Taylor Fritz in that final set against Lorenzo Musetti. He will face off against Novak Djokovic himself. And Novak is going for his 13th Wimbledon semi and his 49th Grand Slam final. Now, this guy's a living legend. He's the Lionel Messi of tennis. He's a living legend. He's talking a lot of shit. He was giving a lot of backlash in his post-match interview where he thought the crowd didn't have his back. And now, when we had the Ukraine and Russian fiasco still going on, Daniil Medvedev had some similar concerns about the crowd not having his back. Okay. Now, does this seem a little soft? Does it seem a little bit like you're crying wolf a little bit? Play your game. Okay. Where I do have their back is, you count on the crowd a lot in the game of tennis. You count on the crowd. You're feeding off the crowd. They're giving you energy. You're giving it back in your play style. And when they're not having your back, it can be tough. I can imagine it can be tough. So Novak is a legend. He's a pro in his own right. He's not worried about the crowd. He was merely drawing attention to it. And I want to see Novak go all the way and win it all. Win it all, man. Late 30s, playing out there with these youngsters. Okay, the next generation of the game, Carlos Alcaraz, Daniil Medvedev, both these guys are young guys. The Taylor Fritzes of the world, the Lorenzo Musettis. These are young guys. Okay, you're playing against young men. There's no end in sight for Novak. He feels as healthy as ever. He feels as nimble as a spring chicken, and he's playing his best tennis. We see it. We see the dominance. We saw some faltering last year in Wimbledon against Carlos Alcaraz and in different matches against different players. Okay, we've seen the age kind of come into play. Okay, well, maybe he doesn't have it today. He hasn't faltered. He hasn't let the critics come after him and win. He's still back out here on the grass playing in Wimbledon, fighting for another title. So gotta take your hat off to this guy, tip your cap, and let's see what he can do. Going to the semis, it all kicks off tomorrow. Looking forward to it. All right, well, that brings us to this part of the show where I talk about the game of golf. Okay, I got to talk about the game of golf because for some reason, people like when I do it. People like when I do it. So I'm going to continue to do it because I am happy doing it. I find pride in doing it. So we're going to talk about the game of golf a little bit. We're going to dive into it, and I can't wait. Grab a seat. Show's about to begin. A look into the game of golf, a very similar, very commonplace title that you might have seen in previous shows. And it's basically where I dive into the game of golf. I talk about it a little bit. I had the pleasure last week, 4th of July weekend, going up north, back to the homeland of Michigan golf, Petoskey, Michigan, Harbor Springs. Okay, we were playing Arthur Hills, a Donald Ross design. Okay, we're playing at Boyne Highlands. We're having a great time. Might have a couple beers on the course. We're hitting the range early. We're up early. We're drinking the night before, but we're going to the course. We're at the course early. Okay, we're hitting the course early, hitting the range, and it's a casual round. It's a casual round. We're having a good time. It's hot. It's humid. But we're playing Arthur Hills, and the following day we're playing the Heather. So let's go into the first round playing Arthur Hills. Had a good round, started a little decent. Okay, these greens are fast. Okay, these are faster than they were back in May when we played these courses, these Donald Ross designs for the men's golf trip we played, the gin golf trip we went on with the boys. Similar location, same location. Okay, same campus. A little bit shaky. Didn't really take the driver out. Didn't really have to. I took it out on a couple holes. There's a couple scenic holes. Took a couple pictures. What were the takeaways from the game? So I'll tell you, I shot an 85. Okay, I shot an 85. And, I shot a 45 in the front. Okay, which wasn't ideal. I didn't want to shoot a 45. But some shots weren't hitting. I'm digging in the weeds for balls. I'm looking for my ball constantly. Okay, I'm not committing to shots. I'm not getting dialed in like I should be. Okay, and maybe I got cut short from the range because we had to get our asses on the first tee. So be it. Cry me a river. Okay, the moral of the story is you're going to have adversity to fight. You're going to have adversity to fight. Take every shot, take every hole as a brand new hole, brand new opportunity. Because it's got to be. If it's not, throw the clubs in the river. Just do it. Because you're not built for the game of golf. You're not cut out for the game of golf. Okay, there's going to be adversity to face. You go to the range the next day, you figure it out. Okay, putts were dropping. Chips, wedges were looking good. We got to the point where we were committing to our long irons. Started taking long irons and 3-woods off the tee. Picking spots to hit. Piecing apart holes to, play to your play style. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew, especially on a course like that. You can't. 85 isn't a bad score for that kind of course. Could I have shot better? Of course. But you take it day by day, you take it shot by shot, and you move on. Okay, so the takeaways are take it shot by shot, piece these holes together, find your targets, and make a miss radius, 10, 20 yards. Okay, anything outside that is a miss. But it's up to you to how bad that miss is going to be. Okay, so give yourself opportunities to score and strike when you have opportunities. But don't bite off more than you can chew because then you're going to find yourself pitching out. You're adding strokes that are unnecessary. And these greens are tough enough. So if you can two-putt these greens, you're doing a hell of a job. The next day, I went to the Heather. And we had a picture of the driver on the screen for you. We didn't hit driver once. Okay, and we shot an 81. Okay, now you're looking at a little bit of a shorter course, wet conditions. It rained a little bit the night before. You got dew on the ground. Playing an hour earlier. Our tee time was 8:10, where the day prior was 9:20. Okay, so you got different course conditions, especially for that front nine. Cloudy, a little bit cooler. I personally play better in those conditions, a little bit cooler out. Weather is more favorable, and I can have a clearer head because my head gets hot if it's hot out, humid. I hate it. It's hard to play in that type of scenario. I'd rather play in pouring rain than play in hot, humid conditions, mid 80s, low 90s, even into the hundreds. Forget about it. Forget about it. Okay, so the course was short. Didn't have to take out the driver, the big stick. Was taking out my long irons. They were hitting great. I don't think I've ever hit my mid and short irons better in my life, at least not this season. Okay, I'm talking a wedge to the pitching wedge all the way up until my 8-iron. Okay, and then really all my irons were hitting great. Okay, I'm getting accolades from people that aren't even in our grouping. Hey, man, I shot. No, you hit your irons great, bro. Thank you. Tip my cap to them and continue onward and upward. I mean, we got to. So, yeah, I felt good. Putts were dropping. Had a couple that we left out there, but so be it. We shot 81 and we shot 40 on the back, 41 on the front, and we're happy with it. We're happy with that. We walk away with our heads held high, knowing that course is of high quality and high difficulty. But we walk away happy. And really, no matter what, you should walk away from the golf course, the links, the pitch, the whatever you want to call it, the track. You should walk away happy. Walk away with your head held high. I don't care how bad you play. I don't care if you shoot 120. Walk away being happy that, one, you can play the game of golf, and two, that you're fortunate enough to play the game of golf and to take pride in maybe hitting bad shots and getting better, getting out there, getting some practice, getting some swings in, flushing a couple great iron shots, okay, hitting the 3-wood well, walking away with a lot of strong qualities that you can take into future rounds. So that's the lesson to be learned. But we have to keep the big stick on the screen because it's a constant battle for me. Okay, it's a constant battle for me because I don't know. I got to figure it out. I got to do something. I got to go back to the drawing board constantly. Constantly, I'm going back to the drawing board. And this is what I'm left with. I hit the range today. Okay, hit the range today. What do we have on our screen? Okay, it's Bryson DeChambeau. Okay? It's Bryson DeChambeau. I talk a lot of shit about Bryson DeChambeau. But I have to stand behind him in this regard. His alignment with his driver is amazing. It's impeccable. And he has one of the hardest swings on the golfing circuit. I almost said on tour, but he plays for LIV. Okay? Plays in the majors. We know that. A little bit different format than he might be used to playing on the LIV Tour, the Saudi Tour. But let's just take a look at his alignment. So you got that front view, you got that behind view where it's kind of, a side profile. Something interesting is the arms and the extension. Now, something that I might need to work on, and look how far away he is from the ball. Okay, if you could get a ruler out, he's like 4.5 feet from the ball. Now that's a long ways. And putting that in perspective, he has minimal bend in his knees. He's reaching forward. That's kind of the biggest thing, is reaching forward, being completely taut with your lead arm, which is, in this case, he's a right-handed hitter. It's his left arm. The right arm is following, but they're as extended as they can go. Okay, head down. Back is a little bit more arched than I would like it to be, just because it doesn't look like it's too comfortable. It might be too comfortable for him. It has to be somewhat comfortable. But I found myself doing this a lot at the range, And that is having those arms and having those wrists taut, having them almost to the point where you're reaching out to the ball to align to it. Now he's lined up right behind the ball. This is a 2020 shot, but not a lot has changed. I'm sure minimal tweaks have been made. Something that is a big criticism for me that I have no idea how he masters. Only him and John Rahm are able to do it effectively, and that is the fastest backswing I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so going forward into the swing, what is his goal? What is his goal? So now you're going back, okay, your backswing. You're getting to the top of your backswing. Now you're coming through. Where's your head? Your head shouldn't be past the ball. It should never get past the ball no matter what. Okay, that's all the way back. It's all the way down to the bottom of your swing and all the way through. Should never go past the ball. Okay, because then you're getting to baseball territory and that ball is going straight left. Okay, I guarantee you. It's going straight left. Baseball tendency, bad mistake. So what is his goal? His goal is to get those wrists and that arm back to the original position, the rest position. He wants that arm, he wants that lead arm to get to that same position. That means arm, that means wrist, that means head, everything. He wants it to get to the same position on and upon follow through. And if you do that and you maintain your weight transfer, now you're going back, you're putting quite a bit of weight on your back foot. We've touched on this on a previous show. You're putting quite a bit of weight on that back leg. When you're coming through, you kind of got to resist that urge to go all the way and take all your weight to your front leg, because it's your body's going to want to do that with the momentum and inertia that you have built up. The potential energy is building up into kinetic energy, and you're essentially stopping that, upon your follow through and all the way through your swing. The most important thing is the weight transfer and getting the club face back to square position upon contact and having a straight wrist. There should be no question that you will get back to a square position if you do that. You're basically throwing your hands out and at the club and through the ball. You're throwing your arms through the club at the ball. Okay, and there should be no action. And since the arms are so taut, they're so straight, there's really no opportunity for you to falter from that position. There's no way for you to, twist your wrists or, get to that, because you're not going to make good contact. You're building up that muscle memory by getting to this point with your stance, with your form. And I've really adopted a model of this, and I have done it in the past to the point where I've kind of got away from it and I found successes in other ways. But now I'm back to square one. I'm back to the drawing board because I'm missing out on 20, 30, 40 yards by not taking out the big stick. And I have to be able to count on it in certain scenarios, certain shots. I have to. If I want to compete in the modern game against players that are hitting their driver well, I can't be hitting 3-wood. I can't be hitting 4-iron off the tee as much as I would like to, and as much as I would feel fine with that. I have to be able to replicate that confidence with the big stick that I have with my long irons and my long woods. Simple as that. So the takeaways are this. Build a muscle memory, have those taut arms because you have less opportunity to waver from having the club face being square. And basically throw the hands through the club at the ball, get back to that square position, okay? I'm basically reaching all the way out. I'm all the way extended. In my pre-swing, I'm all the way extended. Then all the way back, slow backswing. I got to have a slow backswing. I can't do it fast like these guys. These guys are crazy. Then I get all the way back down and all the way back to taut, okay? I'm all the way back to taut upon contact. Has to happen that way. This is a great diagram. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to study this very intently. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to take some swings. I'm going to hit the range. I'm going to figure this out because it's kind of like a formula that once I get it, I know I'm going to have it right. And once you've hit a shot successfully, you've hit a shot so well, so straight, so perfect, timed well, everything. All you got to do is once. You just got to do it once. Then you know in your heart and in your mind that you can do it a million times, but it's all up here. Can you do it? Can you get yourself in the mental space to do that, especially when you're not on the range, when you don't have 50 balls to hit, when you have to get that ball in play? You're shooting for a personal best. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to overcome that adversity that, maybe you got double on the last hole, but you still got to get up to a par 5 and get it in position to at least get a birdie, if not get on in 2. So getting yourself, 1, mechanically sound, and then 2, getting yourself in the mental headspace to execute that shot effectively in scenarios where it matters. Both are very important. Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, we've done this long enough. It's late. Get to bed, get some sleep. It's a work night. It's a school night. We'll leave you guys with that. Make sure to check us out here next time. Check us out on our website, ginsportsnetwork.com. Find us on all social media channels in the description and via our link tree. We'll talk to you guys very soon. I'm John J. II here with the GSN Pod. Have a great night.